All right, y'all. We're back.
Yeah.
MikiDz Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes we gotta be clear because the MikiDz Show is back.
MikiWAR.
It is.
We are back, and we're actually with a MikiDz Show alumni.
Yeah, our first our first alum on the MikiDz Podcast.
I do all the shows, but I get what? I get something or like a coupon or something?
You know what?
You get a discount in the store.
Yeah, we'll put something together. Joe pays for that usually. So
Yeah.
whatever you want, he's good for it.
I love coupons. So.
Throw it in the bag, danger.
Do you guys still get coupons to your house, like mailed, like like
Yes.
Yoshinoya?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the last coupon you cut?
I haven't. I throw it right in the recycling bin.
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was the discount?
No, it's 20% off. It's always 20% or $10.
Same, man. Same.
Bed Bath & Beyond?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck with Bed Bath & Beyond.
Where do you keep your coupons? Now Rell really posed the real.
I had to put mine in the recycle bin.
Recycle bin?
Yeah.
Oh, you just throw them away?
Yeah.
Man, when I was living in Spain, the coupons weren't like even a thing. Like I used to get them, but in Spain it's like 2% off, something like that. It's like ridiculous. And here's like 20 or 15%, and I'm like, dude.
You're like, this is a steal.
This is a discount.
Okay.
Yeah. There's always that drawer of coupons and section of
everyone got
plastic
a coupon
bags.
drawer. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if Rell does, but
I used to.
yeah. But you don't just put coupons in the drawer. You put other things
Yeah.
in the coupon drawer.
You don't have it's not just a coupon drawer?
No. It's like you put other things in the drawer.
What else is in the drawer? What's in your drawer?
What's in my drawer?
Yeah.
I don't think I want to know the answer to that.
Candles, birthday candles.
Oh, yeah, the random birthday candles?
Receipts
I like
from the
it.
gardener.
Okay.
Pens.
It's a filing cabinet too, huh?
Yeah, it's all kinds of.
It's a multi-use cabinet.
Yeah. It's just you throw anything in there.
I think that's where you gotta hide some stuff.
Tablets.
Have we we've introed this? No, we haven't.
No,
we have
this
not.
is episode 34.
Yeah, Shaq.
Yeah,
He's a basketball player.
No, I know that. I know the
Okay.
one.
Before we get into our weekends and our special guests, for those of you that listen before Wednesday night, we as a MikiDz Pod are hosting a Linkup in Boston.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout out to Big Night Entertainment Group. They are allowing us to take over their what's the name of the restaurant?
Empire.
And so we'll be doing a link up there from I think 7 to 10 next Wednesday, which would be the 26th.
Boston.
And we will be recording a pod there in a separate room. So we're gonna have a few people. We're gonna pull some people out of the link up for that. We get Randy on the pod. Randy's the owner of Big Night Live. And then after that, we will all be making our way across the street to the Grand. MikiWAR will be co-headlining. He worked it out with A-Track. I don't know if they flipped the coin or if it was just whatever. But A-Track's like, you know what? I'll let you get the first leg.
We'll make
10
my own
to 12.
flyer just for it.
Yeah. Make your own flyer. Put co-headlining at the bottom. A-Track.
I'll make it really bad too.
Yeah.
You should.
Maybe there's
it's
a
obvious.
picture of Khaled and A-Track somewhere that I can edit.
Yeah.
That'd be really
There you
good.
go. There you go.
Now we're
So yeah, we'll be doing that link up there in Boston. Please come out, all of our East Coast family. It's going to be a great event. A lot of good people going to be there. And then the day before, there will be a link up at the Foxwood Casino in Connecticut. We will be in attendance. We won't be hosting, but A-Track will be headlining Shrine later on that night.
Take a shot with Danger.
Take a water shot with me, or you have alcohol in your cup and I have water. But yeah, so we'll be out on the East Coast next week and just want to get that out of the way. And yeah, so episode 34. How was the weekends? I will kick it off by saying I didn't have any DJ sets. I just went out to Argyle to support.
Well, how was
Miki?
Valentine's Day? It's the
Oh,
day of love.
It's a scam. That's what it is. And
Talk about it then, Joe.
baby girl's on the same page with me.
Hey,
so
you got to go in.
we ordered a pizza, which is
Nice.
all the shit we did is way out of the norm for
What
us.
kind of pizza?
Just meat lovers, easy Mike.
Was
easy,
it heart
easy
heart
Mike.
shaped at least or what?
Was the
No,
pizza
it was
heart-shaped?
Domino's.
Get the
It was
heart shape out.
Domino's.
Everybody, but I saw that most pizza spots were doing that, making their pizzas
Oh
heart
no,
shaped.
I guess that was extra. I didn't see that in the app or whatever.
That in the app.
But so yeah, we did that. Had some cream soda root beer. Easy Mike.
Oh, you were fucking the diet all the way up that day.
Oh, it was bad. Yeah.
You balled
I meant to
out.
make a salad too. I make a really good lemon juice salad, but forgot. Yeah. And then fucking
Easy, Rell.
Yeah, that was it. That was my weekend.
There you go.
Valentine's Day. Bro.
Well, and then you came out to see me on Saturday.
Yeah, I did. I did.
That was part of your weekend. We were all
in
attendance together.
Yeah.
Actually.
We were all accounted for in the DJ booth.
Yeah. That was always fun.
Yeah, Argyle's a fun venue. Like people dance there. So, and it's a really mixed crowd that welcomes not just like the really cool hip hop, but they kind of want to hear a little bit of everything. So
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So
I love the layout of Argyle. It's way better than when it was True, in my opinion. But Argyle, True was the club it was called before it was Argyle.
Right.
But the layout I think is dope. It's sexy. It has some really great potential in that spot.
Yeah.
And shout out to Butch and Drew.
Yeah, shout out to Drew, man.
Listen
for the
to our
hospitality.
podcast every
Does
now
he?
and then. Yeah, he's tagged you and Butch and yeah, shout out to those guys. But yeah, that was anything worth talking about on my weekend.
My weekend was quite light as well. I had a private up in San Francisco. I spent Valentine's Day in San Francisco working. So and then, you know, I got back in town in time to see our boy Miki on Saturday night. So yeah, it was a cool, you know, quick weekend for myself. And I feel the same way about Valentine's Day. So that's why wifey wasn't really tripping about me being away for the holidays. Because
you guys FaceTime? A little FaceTime?
Not on Valentine's Day, we didn't though.
Fellas, you really, before you get into any relationship, you really got to put your foot down and submit exactly what you are interested and not interested in. So this is not a surprise when it comes to it.
True. Very true.
Or else you'll get trapped.
I mean, if you enjoy Valentine's, by all means, go out and
you
celebrate.
got to give your woman a heads up because if she might feel some type of way when she sees all her friends post these stupid pictures of red hearts and overpaid dinners. And she might feel, damn, I feel left out. But then you got to help her realize, nah, we just saved money. We didn't fall into some scammy BS that everyone feels they have to be a part of or else they'll feel like they're left out. Get yourself a strong girl and lay these guidelines down before you lay a ring on it.
Did you just call every other girl that posted something on Valentine's Day weak?
Yep. Or basic?
I mean, they can take it how they want to take it.
Say that shit.
Take it how you want to take it. Who am I to say who you are? That's
Mike,
that's none of their business.
Mike, how was your Valentine's Day?
Anyway, before we get canceled by all the ladies, Valentine's Day DJ'd. Well, first of all, there's no Valentine's for me, so no pressure of such things.
Your Valentine's was Maya.
Yeah, oh, that's right. That is right.
Yeah.
On Friday night, I got a chance to DJ for or with Maya.
Co-headline?
Co-headline, of course. She looks amazing still.
Yeah.
Still.
She recently got married.
Yeah, she did.
Oh, dang.
And she was quiet about it.
Breaking hearts. All she did was announce that she was in a wedding dress.
And she actually got married legally
in
December of last year. And just announced it this past weekend.
Tax write-off, huh?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know what her approach was, but that's how she did it.
You know, keep things private.
Yeah, absolutely.
100.
But she was amazing. Shout out to everybody at Mansion for the love. It was always fun to play there. Nice and open format. And you could go a little throwback since Maya was performing. You had that kind of energy and good vibes. We at least got a really good, funny video out of it. If you go to my Instagram, we knocked out a little house set for three whole people.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Lighting guy killed it for us. It was a good time. And then Saturday, had Argyle. Shout out to Butch and Drew and the guys there. Had a great time. My boys came out.
Yes, sir.
I appreciated that. Good support from the friends. And just, I don't know, feeling really good going into this week.
You know, one thing I wanted to clear up about the last episode, which I don't know about you two, but I've had some DJs hit me up expressing how much they
Nobody
loved
hits
it.
me up.
Yeah, I had a few guys hit me up saying, man, like the way you guys broke it down and how open you are about, you know, what you do really helps us, you know, especially the up and coming DJs.
And to touch base on that, Those are actually my crates that I posted on. I didn't tell you guys for the artwork.
I saw a crate and I was like,
on.
oh, that's actually his crates on the artwork.
That's my actual crate. Like I didn't want, it's like, hey, here's some transparency. They're not the best names, but I use emojis on my crates.
One guy hit me up and said, "Yo, can you send me like your crate and what it looks like?" I'm like, "I'm not gonna send you what my crate looks like. Just listen to the pod."
What's hiding in your crates, Joe?
Nothing's hiding. It's just every DJ should have their own thing.
So secretive.
No, I'm not. I think we're very open on this pod.
See?
Yeah, Joe's the kind of guy that uses the DJ.
Hold on, I might get canceled if I don't mention this. I also went to San Diego to DJ at El Chingon and hang out with everybody from down there, the roster. Shout out to Kev, shout out to Chaos. Phenom did a great set.
Real.
I gotta give the man his flowers. Phenom held it down at El Chingon. He had some courage that came in form of some liquids.
Nice.
And he was really feeling it, and he went everywhere and had all types of women singing and dropped the Grease song.
Of course he did.
And it was great. It was old school Phenom and playing his gems. And I gotta give him his flowers. And he set me up, and I played right before. Shout out to Vinny Vibe, who's gonna be hosting us, I'm sure, at some point. At the Linkup.
Dope.
But much love to all of them. And we have a hilarious video that you guys will see because we went down there to shoot some content, which I wasn't proud about my short shorts, but we made it happen.
Was it on brand for you, Mike?
You know what? The guerras historically have really great legs. So it's on brand with my family lineage.
Oh, wait, I thought that was Shadow Man. That was you?
Huh?
I thought that was Shadow Man.
Oh, you were being serious.
No, I wasn't. I was just having fun with you.
He's still extending it. But clearly, Ricky is right next to me. Okay, first of all, my beard is stronger. Second of all, and I held my own against all those dudes.
Yeah,
I'm in shape. It may be round, but it's a shape, and I wasn't huffing and puffing.
I imagine your endurance is better than theirs.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Boxing,
you have a good endurance.
We had a lot of thrusting. Motions.
Hey.
I held it.
I don't know you that well, but I know that you have endurance. I mean, that's weird, but we played soccer together.
Yeah.
And I saw you doing it, like, you actually.
He can move for a big man.
Yeah, man. Like, I don't know you that well because we actually never talked that deeply, but I can tell that.
Thank you. My flowers.
That's a weird thing to say, I know, but
people talk about your endurance and how surprised they are. It immediately reminds me of Quickie's first experience seeing you play basketball.
Oh, that was
because Miki can hoop, and Quickie's first experience seeing him, Quickie's like, "You got to be kidding me!" I wasn't even there to witness it, but I can fully see Quickie doing that.
You felt that story,
and everything. I felt like I was there because I know Quickie so well. You got to be kidding me.
Because we've known each other for 20 plus years. Yeah. From basketball. So there's really nothing I can do that'll surprise this guy. But to be able to do it with Quickie and have him just be like, oh yeah, come on by. Like it's friendly. And then, I take things very serious when it comes to sports and gotta prove myself. And it was genuinely funny. He was like, what the fuck?
So one thing I wanted to clear up that we fully got off track about was I mentioned transition tracks. Yeah. And when I mentioned transition tracks, I didn't mean like the tracks that go from 100 to 70 or 70. I meant just what track can take you from one genre to the next that makes it smooth and seamless, whether you're going from trap to pop or dubstep to, southern hip hop or EDM to whatever. My point was having those tracks ready so people don't even, just to still keep the energy up and not make it so apparent that he just switched genres, which isn't always a bad thing, but I just feel like, and sometimes a transition track can take you from modern hip hop to old school,
a reset record,
I'm just saying, you can use getting on the mic as a transition, and that's obviously one really good way to do it. But if I want to, one thing I do is I'll play, I'll go from, and you can do this either way, but I'll go from The Baby, Suge, and I'll loop the first 4 bars or the first bar, and then under that I'll slide in Laffy Taffy because it's generally the same key, and then because there's that transition of the songs being in the same key, that'll take me to my old school crate. Or on the flip side, if I'm getting out my old school crate to something today, I'll loop that Laffy Taffy, dun dun dun, and then slide in the big Shug. I mean the Shug notes.
So those are open ended for you. So I get you.
Yeah, to go from one genre old to new or whatever. But having those transition tracks are key.
Sometimes the ones that are really good are like the slam edits on DJcity.
Right.
That'll help kind of like what?
To see what you did there.
Come on. Gotta earn the check around here.
Yeah.
But there's some great slam edits. Shout out to Kid Cut Up. He's got some cool little edits on there that help, exactly what you're saying. In regards to just being able to pivot from one crate to another.
Were people mistaking your verbiage when you said transition?
I just listened to the show again, and sometimes when we talk on the show, like we're so caught up in our thoughts that we don't really hear what each other say.
Yeah.
So then after I just re-listening to the show, and not the way you guys responded, but I guess the way you guys responded was, I don't fuck with transition tracks. I thought, well, I didn't mean those kind of transition tracks. I meant,
okay,
and so I'm thinking, well, if they took it like that, then maybe hundreds and thousands of people
may
may
have
have taken
taken
it.
on those transition songs.
No, the only time I use those I use going up to EDM or like Pitbull's Don't Stop the Party. That's just a great party song for a top 40 crowd. And I play the original, so that's my transition up. But it's rare I use a lot of those transitions up,
Gotcha.
And I transition a lot, different BPM ranges.
Zach, how do you change tempos?
Well, actually, I do two things. One is I normally lay out a set that goes from one tempo to another.
Mm-hmm.
So I start at like 100, and I end up at 150.
Okay.
So 100, 105, 108, 10,
So
13
on.
for some reason, 15, 20,
Yeah.
up. Or I just grab the mic and say, if I see the crowd that's like maybe not reacting that well, or they had enough of like the Mumbaton style or like the reggaeton and they want more up tempo, I just cut it and say some words because people need to hear something, like some encouragement. And then I go to the up tempo and vice versa. If the up tempo is getting too obnoxious to them, I just try to slow it down. And sometimes I just mix them up, depends. But this is like in a very like particular scenario, because normally I would do these two things. Like the third one, which is like mixing up, it's just in the case that things are just like an after party, like where everybody has played and there's no really like, the energy is like weird. You know what I mean? Because there's the one guy that played one set, another guy that played another set, and everyone is like, they don't give a fuck. So neither do I.
It's random.
So before we get into your weekend, Sak, let's properly introduce you. For those that don't know, you should know, but for those that don't know, Sak had a huge hit back in 2011.
Yeah,
which really set it off for the Loca people.
Exactly.
And you that one song, because I think you only produced one song that year, right? Or you didn't do much of any producing?
Yeah, back in the day, I used to produce one song or two songs per year.
Yeah, that's crazy. And
well, I produced other songs for other people. I'm saying about the songs that were attached to my name, like a Sak Noel song, properly. Yeah. But I did produce like maybe 4 or 5 tracks for other people.
Were they hits, the other tracks?
No.
We'll just blame it on the other guy's branding.
Not really. No, I kept the good stuff for myself.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, 2011, Sak was exhausted from touring from Loca people because that song was such a smash around the world.
Was huge.
And then No Boyfriend, No Problem.
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Trumpets was big. Was a nice crossover track for you. That got you.
I would say that was more important than Local People.
Right.
Because Local People, when your first hit, it's always gonna be like insane, right? But then if you don't come up with something else in the long run to stabilize yourself, like to make your career stable, it's really difficult. And Trumpets made that for me. Like Trumpets made myself like established artist where I can say, okay, I have my hits, but I have my sound, I have my crew, and I know where I am or who I am in terms of like artistic value, and that song gave me that. So that was more important for me than.
And that was a collaboration with Sean Paul, of course.
Yeah.
And then you have your Barnatone label. as well.
Exactly.
And you guys constantly put out really good Latin vibes.
Thank you. Yeah, we do that. We try to help Latinos all around.
Yeah.
No matter where they're from, but just trying to get this sound out in the wild.
Yeah, and so you were just in Peru this weekend for the first time, right?
Yeah, first time there, man. And I gotta say, like this country, as far as I know, rocks. Really, really good. Yeah, the people that I had the pleasure to play for weren't really electronic music people. They were more like casual party goers that because it's carnival time, so they just go there and drink, right?
So it's probably a lot of people that don't party as well because carnival probably only brings out or not only but brings out people that usually don't party, but because it's such a big celebration.
Like a New Year's Eve situation.
Sure. Okay, gotcha. There you go.
And they had this huge event, and they usually until me they just had singers like Sedge or they mentioned Sedge or this kind of Latin artists that's that's relevant nowadays. But they wanted to try DJs because they understood that, hey, look, if I bring one singer, it's gonna be like 15 to 30 minutes show for that amount of money.
Right.
If I bring a DJ that has a brand and has a name and has songs, it's gonna be 1 hour and a half.
Yeah.
For the same amount or less, and particularly less because you don't have the rider to actually be like lines and the mixers and all that. It's just a simple simple rider for a DJ versus like a huge and complicated rider for a singer. And also singers come with their technicians and all that. So, and the funny thing is that I kind of predicted that, and we had this conversation years ago. Like the Latin promoters, they will realize that it's easier for them to book DJs that play the same music for longer, and they're cheaper to bring than actual singers. Singers, they're never going to disappear. But what I'm saying is, like with the EDM, this happened to the Western English-speaking countries where you used to have only hip-hop acts, and now you could bring a DJ, and she plays for 1 hour and makes the night longer.
Right. So it's just a little more cost efficient too.
Yeah. So I was really glad that they said that to me, because I was like, shit, yeah. Because this is not good just for me. This is good for every DJ.
Yeah.
In every aspect, and even for the non-Latino DJs, it's good because it's a new market to tap.
And if surrounding countries and cities see that DJ experience worked well for them, they're going to want to copy that. And so that opens up more opportunities for you.
If one thing Latinos do well is copy. So be sure of that.
Yeah.
First time in Peru, correct?
Yeah, first time.
What was your favorite thing about Peru this trip?
So the hospitality. Yeah. Not the rider hospitality, which was like the human hospitality.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, the promoter was nice. They try always to please you in every way possible.
Yeah.
And they were really good people in this. I mean, normally they're good, but in this case, I got hats off to them, because they were really trying to make themselves, really good for me.
Dope.
That's the token fat guy I can only think about getting Peruvian food in the homeland, because that's like one of my favorite.
Funny thing, I didn't eat anything.
You didn't eat anything?
Like no local food.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, I didn't have time.
What?
I didn't have time because I landed at 1 a.m. The night before the show.
Okay.
I woke up, took breakfast at the airport lounge, and then I went to sleep, and then I woke up and had a small bite before the show, and then I left. So I didn't have the chance to actually eat.
It was a quick trip.
So you're in and out.
So
all right. Well, there's a Peruvian spot in Reseda or somewhere. We'll go.
Probably. Yeah. I
actually took him it's not Peruvian, but I took him to Tres Hermanos for his birthday last year.
I remember you telling me.
Yeah. He enjoyed that.
Tres Hermanos is amazing.
Yeah. It was really good.
Good fun.
So you collaborated with DJcity on Barnatone collaborated with DJcity on a track called Tocame.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to play that in Peru, and how was the reaction?
I did. Yeah. I played actually a special version that I cannot talk about right now, but the track is really like I tried the track before in other venues, and it really, really works. Especially because every time I play the track or every time the track is played by someone else, it always gets the same reaction, which is, what is this?
Yeah.
Right.
And you told us last night that it had like 4,000 Shazam hits.
Yeah.
And it's not even out.
It's not out, and it's
in a week, 4,000 hits in a week.
Right? And no promotion besides what we do on social media.
Crazy.
Nothing. It's just people actually reacting to it. Well, there's the song is played on Sirius XM, People Globalization. Well, that helps a lot, obviously. But I'm saying, it's not normal for a track that's not released to get this amount of, attention.
Yeah.
Right.
And when I did Trumpets, for example, I did post the instrumental on my social media, and I got the reactions, and I knew that song was going to work because of the reactions. I didn't know how big it was going to be, but I knew that the song was engaging. It's the same case. I know the song is engaging because I even got emails from people asking me about the song, which is weird because I don't know where they got my email from, but they're like, where I can download the song, emailing me.
Right.
Like, you normally send me a DM, right?
Right.
So that shows you how anxious they
They
are about
putting
the
in
song.
that effort
The
to find
streets
you.
need
So based on that, I might jinx it. I don't think so, but it looks really good.
Yeah.
And it'll be officially out by the time. This episode.
February 21st.
Yeah, this
right?
Friday.
So
This Friday,
it'll be out.
21st.
It's the
It's
first
out already?
collaboration I do with
Yeah, well,
DJcity.
Rebel.
So it's out now.
Yeah.
Make sure to go stream.
Yeah, it's out now.
And what's the story behind Tocame?
Well, as always, when you make good stuff, it's always accidents.
Yeah. Happy accidents, right?
Happy accidents. So the story, it goes like this. So Franklin, which is a friend of mine and one of the artists that we have on Barnzone, I collaborate a lot with him. He made a totally unnecessary remix of Trumpets 5 years later. He comes to me and sends me the remix like, yo, I made the remix for Trumpets. I'm like, wow, thank you. The song came out in 2016, but fine. And but Salvi and I were like, "Wow, this remix is actually good. The beat, the beat on this remix is actually good." So Salvi took the beat out of the remix. We actually took the stems and used the beat, and then we were like playing with it, and we just put a placeholder, like a guitar sample we found on Splice over that beat. And we just, I think it was Savi that made an Insta story. So I wasn't even sure about it. And he made an Insta story about it. We just posted it. And I think it was like 5 seconds after this, Edwin calls us.
Yeah.
Says,
What is that?
what is this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's just something we did. It's like, this is fire. You got to do something with it. And I'm like, I don't see it. I mean, I'm like, I like it, but I don't see how you are so excited about it. And then he wanted that song to be, finished, obviously, in the way that it was, that we were doing it, because we weren't going to keep the guitar. We were doing something else. We just put the guitar there to see how people would feel about it. And it turned out to be the thing. And then more people started to hit us up. And then we started to see, oh, this is something that might be, we might be onto something.
Right.
But we didn't see it. Edwin did. That shows you, man. Like, as a producer, you know what you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think what I've noticed about your production in general is like it's very straightforward. It's very simple and straightforward, and everything that hits it's effective. And I think it connects with the listeners. And I say that because you get a lot of producers that try and get a little too obscure with it, or they overthink it. And that's one thing you always tell me: just keep it simple, don't overthink it.
Yeah, but I always tell you that. But do I do it?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah,
we weren't going to do it. We weren't going to keep the guitar.
Right.
We were to put something else on that song, but we didn't because someone told us not to.
Right.
So, producing is really like a strange battle between the song and yourself and your mentality. Because the more you get into a song, the more you lose perspective of it. And it happens many, many times that you had the hit in the first 10 minutes and you destroyed it because you thought that it wasn't that good because you got used to it.
Yeah.
But then, many hits don't happen because of that. Also, a lot of hits happen because, accidents, like when I did Local People, I didn't have time to think because every time I was doing something, someone would call me or something would happen. I made the beat 5 minutes because I had to leave because I had to go to a radio show. So I didn't have time to rethink. I just did the beat, left. Then listened to it on my car. I was like, oh, that's good. Maybe if I had stayed in my studio for a longer time, I wouldn't have done that beat.
Right.
Then when I put the synth on the beat, my ex-girlfriend at the time came to me and we were going to go for a run or something. And I was like, what should I put in here? She came to the studio. And I randomly picked one sound in Nexus. And I liked it. And we went to the run. When I came back, I fucked with that sound. It was like, I left it there.
Yeah.
And people would say, how did you make that sound? It sounds really good.
It's just
Just
Nexus,
like, go to Nexus. Squarely, its library it's Squarely number 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And people are like, how did you make it? No, it's just a preset.
And it's so important that you have that story and you share it because for a lot of the EDM trap producers, they think they need to create a special synth or come up with something, again, obscure to separate themselves. But if you just make something funky and keep it simple,
yeah, I mean, it depends. You can have a hit based on your amazing capacity or your amazing skills with making sounds like Skrillex or something like that.
Right.
Or no, it depends on every case, but in most cases, like even with these guys that really know the stuff, because I'm not an expert. I mean, I'm a good producer, but I'm not like the best. But for every hit that's made, I think most of the time it happened because, accidents.
Right.
I don't think that has ever been a producer that goes to the studio and say, today I'm making a hit, and it made a hit.
Yeah.
Right.
Because normally when you say, I'm going to make a hit, oh man, no.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, if you know someone that does this,
let me know.
Yeah, let me know.
Put us in contact.
Yeah.
What's the thought process going into the start of it? Like, where does that creative process begin? Besides the presets.
It depends. Sometimes you do stuff because you have to do stuff.
Okay.
And sometimes you just do stuff because it's fun to do. And normally that's
it sounds like you work really well under like pressure. Like, did you do the homework the night before?
What do you mean, like under pressure?
Like when there's a time constraint, when there's time that.
Well, I do sometimes work under pressure, and because working under pressure is very simple because if you spend a lot of time producing, you already have your own library.
Right.
You already have your own way to do things. Mm-hmm. So it's basically you just go for the fast stuff.
Okay.
And working under pressure is actually good for me because it doesn't let me think a lot, which is good. Sometimes when Joseph and I would go to a venue and play something, I would make some edits before. And because I had just 1 hour to do them, they were really good. If I had more time, maybe I would just go crazy and I was like, no, I'm just going to do what it needs to be done to get this reaction. And that's more than enough. This is music. This is not like, mathematics for, no, it's music.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the, you had some thoughts on the clubs versus festivals. And we actually, originally we talked about this a couple of years ago where I think for DJ producers, chasing that festival world was still kind of a thing. But and you said, no, they shouldn't be chasing festivals. They should be trying to get into the clubs. Why would you, as a producer, not just as a top 40, not as a DJ like us, but as a producer DJ, why would you favor the clubs over the festivals, in America at least?
Well, there's many reasons, but business reasons, clubs were there before festivals, and they will be there before after festivals.
Yeah.
dance music started in clubs. Festivals were for rock music.
Yeah.
Just electronic music got greedy, and then they made festivals, which I understand. But the natural place for dance music is clubs, because DJs, like, we don't sing. So some sing, but like 90% of DJs don't sing. Just press buttons.
Right.
If you strip out of all the effects, fireworks, and everything, DJ is basically is made for a club, because you need the people to be in a certain distance from you, not like a mile away.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think that's why the clubs, they're always been there. And I get the hype for many newcomers. Like, I want to play in a festival because they think it's going to be good for their brand. And in some way, it's going to be good for their brand, but it's also going to be bad, because unless you're like the headliner or like the first line of the bill, you're not going to get noticed a lot.
Right.
Instead, if you go to a club and kill it, you're always in a club. Most of the time, you're going to be the headliner, even if you're not really that big. But you're going to be the headliner. People are going to pay attention to you. You're going to build a loyal fan base that's going to sell tickets to another club and sell tickets to another club. Because let's be real here. Like, how many DJs would sell tickets outside a festival that are on the festival?
Right.
Just the headliners.
Well, our friend, Mr. White, he used to. I don't know if he knows, but he's not at Avalon anymore. But, yeah. So and Sak Noel had did a couple shows at Avalon, Barnatone Takeovers, and he had told me if they booked an artist or a DJ, and a DJ was projected to sell X amount of tickets, and if that DJ didn't deliver on those tickets, then let's say the DJ was $30K, they would take back, let's say $10K, because the DJ didn't live up to the hype, essentially. And then they'll check the DJ's like accounts to see, did they promote the event? Like, how hard did they push it? Did they, just, do everything they need to do on their end? And I think all the agencies say, okay, take back what you think is right, because these agencies have like 100 other DJs on their roster.
Right.
So they have to play ball if they want to continue to get their guys going through that club.
Yeah, man. This is what's happening. And but it's Instagram and social media is great, but you have to be in the mind of like a 13-year-old that's seeing this, and obviously his goal is going to be like festivals, right? And that would be cool, because you're starting and you need exposure, and that's a great place to actually expose yourself. But think this is not the only venue that's going on.
But
there's a lot of venues around the world, smaller venues that could pay you more or less the same amount of money that you get on a festival, because you're the solo. You don't have to share the money with 1,000 other artists.
Right.
And it will give you exposure as well. Maybe not the way you think it's going to be, but eventually, when you get older and stuff like that, clubs are going to be there for you, right? Festivals, it's been like, what, 5 years, 6, 7 years of like really big festivals. Okay. I'm going to say we're right now at the peak of them. Everything at its peak, it's great. What's going to happen on their decline?
Right.
I want to see that. I mean, I don't want to see that, but I want to see as an external person, I want to see, because I like this, to know stuff, what's gonna be the reaction, right?
Yeah.
And the clubs, they have already proven that they've been there for, like, disco was created in a club,
Right.
house music was created in clubs,
Yeah.
or like raves and stuff like that. So,
I think with festivals, and you guys can kind of put in your opinions, but it seems like where we're at today in 2020, it's just so much easier to go somewhere without going somewhere. Like the streaming, the ability to just interact or watch stories. Like sometimes you'll have those moments where you get that FOMO, the fear, not being there. But most of the time, kind of like, I'm happy I'm in bed. Like,
Saved a lot of money.
Or I'm somewhere else, or like, when I think of things like, just as the prime examples, right? Like EDC looks like a lot of fun, but like as a consumer, like
I think we're older too.
Well, 100%. I'm not EDC's demographic.
Look, man, like I think back to when the few concerts I went to when I was in my 20s was Rock the Bells 2 and 3. And I think, I went to 4 as well.
Old.
But Rock the Bells 2, like we were in that crowd. Our feet were burning from standing up the whole time. And because we loved that music, we loved those artists. Now I got to think about, nowadays, I ain't going to a festival unless you give me some backstage shit.
Hold up. But we left before the headliner.
Yeah, that was a long day.
So I will say that.
Well,
like,
Wu-Tang headliner.
We might have did it, not Lauren.
Well, one of them.
Lauren was one of them. While we were leaving, I think.
Well, another one I went to. There was
probably
Nas did a surprise set.
Yeah,
we saw him.
That's another thing. Like many of the people that go to a festival, they don't even know who's playing.
Right.
True.
It's just a place to be.
Yeah, just a place to be. It's the hype.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why it's like it's for the younger crowd, and that's why it caters. It works for the younger DJs because the younger crowd will identify with those 16-year-old producer DJs.
And let me throw a curveball in here. We're also in a day and age where the people that are famous aren't actually famous, right? They're famous based on their Instagram or their metrics.
Correct.
Social status.
So everybody thinks that they should have some sort of elevated experience from the person who's buying a GA versus like us, like when we were going to concerts, to age us a little more, like you actually had to be somebody to get backstage or to get credentials or whatever. Now, like, I mean, for Coachella, I'll say it, I think that the cooler spots or parties aren't even happening at Coachella. They're happening around.
Right.
You know, and people rather go to those things because there's access.
Well, and I've said this before on the pod when I was with Red Fool and we did Miami Ultra weekend or week. It wasn't about being at Ultra. It was about going to the parties around Ultra. And that's we hung out at a one or two of those parties.
Yeah, that was a great party.
Yeah. Red Food threw his own party at a pool. But it wasn't I don't know, you probably weren't trying to go to Ultra. You heard about all the parties going at the hotels.
I never went to Ultra. Never played there and never went to it. Unless they pay me my fee, I'm not gonna go and play Ultra because my brand doesn't need it.
Right.
Because that's the thing, like I try to build my brand to stay away of that. I mean, I don't want to have a brand that depends on being on a festival.
Yeah.
That's suicide.
And can you speak on your experience with EDC Mexico and what you turned down? Because originally they asked you and then you turned them down.
Yeah, well, the first time they asked me about playing there, they wanted me to play in a stage that I didn't think it was right for me. But I said, thank you, but no.
Yeah.
It's I'm like I want to play in the main stage.
And anybody would jump at that offer and want that opportunity just to say they played EDC Mexico.
Yeah, but yes, I suppose, I guess. But I mean, like it wasn't right for me at the time. I was like, no, I mean, I'd rather do this or not do it at all.
Main stage or not do it at all.
Yeah, and they accepted. And you know, because like the hype is not affecting me. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's not better to be at EDC or whatever festival than not to be on it. Like it does. I mean, it has to be right. I mean, if I go to a festival or they book me, it's because of something, right? Not because I have a connection there or, you know, someone that I know, because that's going to lead to nothing. It's just going to lead to a picture on Instagram and people will be like, I'll have like 200 comments on the picture and that's about it.
And you also mentioned if you were to do that side stage, it probably would have hurt your brand more than helped it.
Yeah.
Which sounds crazy because if I just say I did EDC Mexico, I'm going to flex that, you know?
I always say the same. Like there's more DJs not playing at Tomorrowland than playing at Tomorrowland. Sorry, vice versa. There's more DJs playing at Tomorrowland than, you know.
Yeah.
Because that's
like the exclusive thing to do right now is not play at a festival because every DJ plays at the festival.
Right.
And if you start to see like it waters the festival down, like everyone's playing at the festival. Why?
Right.
Yeah.
Why is that? Like I don't understand.
Well, the people that know why so and so and this group of guys are playing at the festival one thing that Red Food broke down to me was these guys, like these companies that throw the festivals, if you don't take these festival bookings and take the rate they're offering you, you're screwed to do their other festivals and their partners' festivals. So if you want to play that, if you want to, if you want to DJ these festivals, you have to play their game. And if you don't play their game, you're done. You're not.
Yeah, but there's a lot of games you can play.
Right. But if I'm like a 17-year-old kid and is listening to my agent, and my agent's like,
get a new agent,
because it looks bad on the agent if you're this up and coming superstar and you don't do this festival.
If you're an up and coming superstar, they'll come to you and you don't have to worry about it.
You can demand whatever you want.
I guess it just comes down to creating that demand, right? Like, what if they out leverage you with their brand over yours, then maybe it's not time.
Yeah.
And that goes back to you building Barnatone and just
exactly. That's why I built Barnatone. One of the reasons, because I think I'd rather have my own thing than depending on someone else's.
Yeah.
And I respect those guys because they did build empires.
Yeah.
Which I have to respect that, but I don't like their rules sometimes. Sometimes I play along because the rules for me are fair.
Right.
But I'd rather have my own stuff.
Right.
And what would you say the 3 points? We talked about this the other day. The 3 points of connecting your brand with music you produce or just what clubs you do, because we talked about branding on this show a number of times. But I want you to share your thoughts on.
Branding is the key, right? Like, it's the key to everything. Like, the brand is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Music and brand. There's nothing else. And people need to be aligned to your brand, the same as your music. Because if there's a misalignment, it's not going to work. Like, not even the smallest misalignment. It has to be 100% aligned. And the brands that work are 100% aligned with their target. So I always say the same, like, if you want to know who you are, just define yourself in 3 concepts. If you can define yourself in 3 easy concepts, that means that you know who you are as a brand, right? And if people see the same concepts as you do, then you're 100% aligned with the people, so you're good.
Yeah.
So that's one trick I do all the time to me, because it's very easy to get detached from your persona, because let's be honest, it's very difficult to know what people expect or what do you want, because people might think like, let's say I'm really good at producing electro music, right?
Right.
But I get tired of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so people, they still want me to produce electro music because they like it, but they don't know that I hate it right now.
Right.
So how do we correct this, right? Either, there's gotta be a way. You have to know what they want, and you have to know what you want, and try to make things work. That's the only possible way.
And what would you say are the 3 concepts of Barnatone?
Barnatone is Latino, obviously. It's international, and it's fun. It's the same concepts as my own brand.
Okay.
The only thing is it applies to more people.
Got it.
Because being alone it's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
In the scene.
Yeah.
So Barnatone represents that.
Love it.
And I think it's important for DJs, and not just DJs, because we have more than just DJs that listen to this podcast, but I'm going to use DJs as an example. It's important for DJs to, when you're working on getting booked in clubs, well, does that club align with your brand, or does what you're doing align with that club? You know what I mean? Like, are you just taking bookings, or does that club work well for your brand? If not, then why would you do it?
Yeah.
Because now you're just, it looks off, it doesn't look organized, it doesn't look clean.
Yeah, let's just, like, there's one thing though, like, you have to take out the equation, the economical need.
Sure.
Like, there's always the economical
need. Which is
need.
usually in the equation.
Yeah. So we're speaking all the time, but without having in consideration that people need money, and whatever rules you can have, sometimes you just need the money and you have to take it.
Right.
And you may have the idea of not playing at this festival or this club, or you have to do it because they pay you. I respect that as well.
Yeah.
But if you take this out, I align 100% with what you say.
I think it's tricky. I think we brought it up before, but like sometimes, even in the real world, right, to relate this not to just DJs, but sometimes you're doing a job you don't really want to do, but because you got bills to pay, it's hard for you to risk not having that consistent check.
Yeah,
doing something you don't really like versus maybe chasing something that you really love to do that may not pay as much.
And I think, but within that, because I think at some point we all had jobs we didn't want to do, but within that, you should be exercising some brain muscles. And what I mean by that is figuring out a way to be creative within that job, and not only that, but game planning for the next scene. Because like I used to work at a textile factory. I used to work in a warehouse shipping out linens and soap and towels to hotels and whoever would order them. And, if I were to talk to myself then, if I would look back and talk to that guy, I'd say, you want to be a baseball player. Well, you got to practice being disciplined here. You got to practice staying on top and being focused here, because that's what it's going to come to when it comes to the real shit. If you can't do that at this warehouse with all these ex-cons and people that don't give a fuck about their life, and who's to say you're gonna do it when it matters? You know what I mean? A few different ways to look at it, but yeah.
You ever feel in danger at your job, Joe?
Nah, those dudes they love me. I was cool with all of them. I was.
That's where your name come from?
The DJcity.
DJcity. They gave me the name.
Jesus. Nah, did you know his old DJ name?
No.
Probably hates that ringing up all the time.
That was the best.
DJ Juggernaut.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how long was this?
What's that?
How long ago you had this?
2000. When I started DJing, like 2006. Rolled with it for a year maybe. Yeah. Changed it while I was in college.
I like
DJcity.
better.
Remember?
Yeah, DJcity's good.
Yeah, DJcity is better.
Yeah, good change.
There'd be no.
But man, like,
Miki
but
without
that's
the
good
Ds.
that you bring this up, because you learn a lot. Like, you're not the same person as you when you started, right?
Exactly.
Like you've learned. It takes time to build these things, and you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes, and I still do. Like, I'm gonna make a mistake this week and probably next week and the whole year.
Yeah.
But one of these, it won't be a mistake. It will be a win, right? But it's normal.
And that's what's unfortunate about people that don't understand that that people do evolve. Like, if you were to judge someone based on what they did in 2012 or who they were in 2012 or what they were promoting and pushing, especially in this business, if you'd hold them to that in 2020, then it's not fair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that I think of so many things that was happening in 2012 for other people, and if I still saw them in that light and not giving them the opportunity to show that they've evolved and they're doing something different in this business, you're kind of going with the trend. So you're forever evolving or trying to figure out who you are. It might take 8 years to figure out who you are or what your brand is. Like, I had to get out of the whole LMFAO thing and the whole party rock thing. And it sucked that some promoters and bookers were still holding me to that. But
it's always going to be this kind of obstacles. It's impossible. Like, I have these problems too. Obviously, when you have a career that's long, some people's going to be like, hey, I like you because you did that song 10 years ago and I haven't heard anything else from you.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. But I'm not going to go to your club and do that because,
Right.
I don't want to do that, right? Take out the economical need.
Yeah.
But then there's other people that catch up, or sometimes I read tweets like, oh, remember Sak Noel that started out doing electro back in 2010? Oh, now he's doing Mumbatone and it's pretty good. I'm like, oh, this shit is safe. I save it because it's like, this is really a recognition of my work. This is better than any award that you can receive.
Sure.
This is true words from someone you don't know.
Yeah.
Is actually stating what you actually fought for.
Right.
Trying to evolve, but trying to stay, in the same concepts as the beginning. But the sound, it needs to evolve. And if to evolve, you need to surround yourself with new people, new team, everything, do it. Because, you change, people don't change, then you have to change people.
And not just new people, but people that have their finger on the pulse of what's going on, right?
Yeah.
I think
Mike can connect with that in the fashion world. The kids lead the way, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's what you were just saying. Like, for for the most part, in the business side of things, you kind of have to follow somewhat a guideline, that you're being given that information by other people. And then it's just our job to adjust while keeping, like you said, the brand integrity, within our means. But I think that's also why, we built our brand around, it's not around the product, because the product is always going to change.
Exactly.
If we don't change, we can still offer the same experience. We just might be selling something different, And I if I told you what we sold, we sold women's clothes in here before, and I mean, women wear a lot of stuff we wear now, but I'm sorry that we offer that we wear now. But at some point we had like dresses, we were trying to keep up, versus not being ourselves. And I think when you're yourself, that's when it translates the best.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, and I was gonna ask you, with Local People, I felt like it was that time where people were really searching for those up-tempo songs, right? And you could kind of sneak in. I remember playing and going back sometimes and looking at some of those crates, and I'm like, damn, I was playing this song, and like it doesn't have that that longevity. Local People has that longevity because it's just good music. Then Trumpets comes out, years later. It's now 5-6 years ago, and it feels like maybe a song that it still made a great impact, but maybe a little early to what feels like the Latin, call it flavor genre, is just at one of the best points it's ever been in a long time in the crossover world. Mm-hmm. So can you give me a little bit on, number one, the excitement for Tocame to come kind of like at a good time, right?
Yeah, it's a good time. I think so.
It feels like a lot of what you've built from the brand unified with globalization, unified with the different platforms that you got going on.
You're explaining it very well. Tocame, it's kind of like the best of both worlds. Like you put together Local People, what I learned from Local People, what I learned from Trumpets.
Yeah.
And it kind of blends into Tocame, which is up-tempo, but has the elements of 100 BPMs. Right. And you're right about that. Trumpets came really early into the trend.
Yeah.
But I'd say that helped it.
Yeah.
Because being early, it's not a bad thing if everyone else follows that.
Right.
What happened with Local People is that it came in a weird time, because I did the song, but then the music turned into EDM.
Right.
And EDM was never my thing. I never felt it. I never liked it. That's why maybe I really don't have the hype for festivals, because they play mostly EDM. And I'm like, okay, I don't really. Okay.
Yeah, it translates that.
Yeah, I like more sexy music and all that, but nobody really followed up on that lane. And it's just now that I see the need of 128 that's sexy, and I actually align more with the Fisher line or the Dom Dollar line.
Yeah,
that's house. That's playful house.
Yeah,
that has, in this case, doesn't have Latin elements, but if you put the Latin elements on that, it's gonna be really good, right?
Yeah.
So I see this trend right now that's starting, and there's a need, because as a DJ sometimes I'm like, what can I play that's 128 but it's not EDM and not like really like house that's really complicated,
right?
And I find nothing besides what I told you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you think the Latin music's going up tempo from here on out? You think that's where the trend's going?
It's probably going to happen the same way the promoters are booking DJs.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like it's going to fit itself.
Yeah,
because we've had, I think, the peak of 100 BPMs. It's already passed. Like the greatest songs on that BPM had already been written.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with Major Lazer and then with the Latin stuff. Mm-hmm. I think even Major Lazer went to 126 in the last song, because I think they feel that too.
Yeah.
So it's time. Like you can get stuck to a BPM. It's really difficult to evolve. Your brain's like, oh, I'm going in circles. I need to change something, and the BPM is always the best thing to change.
Right.
As a producer, it gives you a new perspective. So I think there's going to be like a new wave of 128 that's not going to be EDM, because that was the problem with 128, that it was EDM and people were like, no, go to 100. But now it's past some time, and it's time to go back to that, because music is cycles. And I'm old enough to have seen some cycles, and it always goes back like to where it was, but just slightly different.
Right.
Like look at Daddy Yankee. He was doing it at 2005 or 5
Mm-hmm.
in 2016.
Right.
What happened in between?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Same as hip hop.
yeah.
Right now, it's killing it.
Right.
But in the 2012, 2015, it wasn't that
Dance
good.
music
Well,
took over.
Yeah. And when you really think about it, right, just doing the simple math, like 90s hip hop sampled a lot of 70s, 60s music. So that 20, 30-year gap would influence what was going on currently.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the last time that, in the early 2000s, right, you had that first bit of reggaeton coming out, and a lot of the up-tempo music's now been gone for about 10 plus years. So it feels like it's just around that cusp. I mean, we're seeing it in hip-hop now, like you said. They're sampling a ton of 2000s R&B, and it's being very successful. And I think we're finally at that point where it's like, man, it's been 10 plus years that now we can go and sample, the different up-tempo bodies.
And I think like also it's very important that the music always follows, at least the Western music always follows like economical cycles.
Yeah.
Like if you look at how big the house music was before the 2008 crash,
Yeah.
and then it turned into EDM.
Yeah.
I would say like it went from being a steakhouse to a Burger King.
Yeah, for sure.
And now people again have more money. The
Yeah.
unemployment, at least in the United States, is low.
Yeah.
And most of the Western countries have good rate right now.
Yeah.
The recession that was supposed to happen last year didn't happen, maybe. But right now, everything is like, okay, people's gonna be listening to more elite music, like house
Yeah.
or hip hop,
Right.
than just music that's hardstyle or something like. Because people don't need to go crazy because
Right.
they have things, so they want to show off instead of breaking them
Yeah.
because they're angry. They're not that angry right now. I'd say that. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think that you're right on time with that.
Yep. I want to know favorite city you spun at in the States.
Favorite city in the
Favorite
States?
country you spun at overseas.
Favorite city in the States, I'll say LA.
LA.
Yeah,
Okay.
because there's nothing that can beat the fact that when you play in a city that you live in
Yeah.
and your friends come, that's
Yeah.
that's basically
Okay.
All right.
And what was the other one?
Favorite country overseas.
Favorite country overseas? I would say right now Finland.
Finland.
Yeah, because I've been there. I've been going there a lot, and I'm really having fun with people. There, they like they seem like a cold country, but they have a lot of like twerk movement there, and they really
You
like my
judged the
music. And
twerk contest, right?
yeah, I did a twerk. I was the judge at a twerk contest.
Serious.
I didn't twerk. I could have, but no. I suggested it, but they said no. Just
They're like,
stick,
no.
stick to the being judge.
Yeah.
And but Spain was also good, but I haven't played in Spain for a long time right now. I don't know why, but I think this year I'm having a couple of gigs in summer there. So
Dope.
There you go.
Oh, Finland. Huh.
Yeah.
Gotta go check
Never
that out.
would've
check that
thought,
out.
huh?
No, that was no.
it is great, man, and it's a small country, but they really like all the Scandinavian countries are good, and all the like Poland and Russia even.
Yeah.
Like, they really know how to party.
Eastern Europe.
I actually have a family in Sweden. I've never gone to Sweden. So
Mm.
Oh, there's your.
Well,
that's
there you
my
go.
Reason, I guess, right?
There's your motive.
Before we get out of here, I remember you had expressed to me how important it was to when you got to LA and DJing at Avalon, and I thought that was a really cool story for how important it was for your brand to DJ at Avalon.
Oh, it was
because
just amazing.
people like Dylan Francis came out, who's probably been a fan of yours for a while. Then he saw that, or he wanted to see it live in person.
Yeah, I don't know if he even knew me before that night, but I'm not sure. But the thing is that you made that happen with Chris at the time, and I did a Barnaton event. I just came in the city. I just moved and I did my event. And the good thing about the city, like a lot of people showed up and a lot of DJs showed up.
Yeah.
So I met basically all the scene about and about everyone. And I made friends with them. Dylan came and so that was me saying I'm here and let's work. And after that, I did a lot of more parties and being kind of connected with everyone.
You started doing underground parties in
Yeah,
LA,
like the underground,
which is a really, really fun scene.
the LA scene is just, I mean, it's the better scene that there is,
I
right?
want to go underground.
The problem with the LA scene is that it's very LA, and you gotta be careful about it, because you cannot think that LA is the wall, because then you basically you're stuck.
Yeah.
But as a consumer and as a DJ, like I would DJ here every day, every day, no question.
Have you been to Al Tuntun?
Al Tuntun? No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's a Spanish party, Latin party
no.
out here.
I
A
have
good
to
friend of
check it out.
mine is pushes it. Andres. It's usually at either Poppy or Peppermint Club.
Oh no,
So
no, definitely haven't done that.
What nights?
next time maybe we'll all take a field trip together.
What nights?
Nice little
4 dudes walking in, sure.
easy. I mean, that's what we built this network
Good
for.
stuff.
Right.
There's always something.
They just got
I
a
mean,
shout out. Come on.
That's true.
There's always something like this
Right?
going on. Right?
More guys to come.
You gotta check it out.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing like a Latin podcast in Espanol?
I thought of it actually. I mean, I'm thinking of doing, not podcasts, but maybe like videos on YouTube.
Okay.
And I was talking to my YouTube partners, and I said, I want to do it in Spanish, and they said, yes, but do it in English. Well,
Great, but
the reason is because it pays more, and they're getting a cut. So like they do it in English, but I'm probably going to do it in both.
Just be like, we'll give you closed caption. Narcos is hot.
I'm probably going to do it in both.
Narcos
'Cause,
Mexico
I mean,
at that too.
That's what I'm saying.
English, because the thing is that I'm shy to do it in English because my accent is not that good. And sometimes, it's difficult to understand what I say.
Uh-huh.
At least when I try to listen to myself, like speaking after I do a podcast or something, I'm like, what did I say, man? Like, I don't know.
no, we understand what you're saying.
Yeah, because you're used to me, but you have no viewers right now, just so you know. Yeah, but I'll have both. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah, and what do you got coming up? What can you get the listeners excited for? Tocame is going to release, or should
Out
be
now.
out by now. It's out right now.
Tocame is out right now. Then there's gonna be another thing with Tocame happening soon that I cannot really talk about.
It sounds like it's
It's like a remix.
It sounds like there's room for an artist to get on it, and that's probably
might
what
be
you can't
might be the
speak on,
case.
But I'm ready for it. I'm looking.
Might be
forward
the
to that.
case.
It'll be in my globalization mixes for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And DJing anywhere in the country,
Well, I have EDC Mexico
EDC
coming
Mexico.
up. Then this year, for some reason, well, maybe I explained that reason before, but I'm getting a lot of bookings in South America. I go to Bolivia.
Nice.
I go to Panama.
Oh, yeah.
I have what else? Yeah, Spain, Finland. No, this year I don't play in Finland. I play in Estonia
Estonia.
because
Estonia.
it
Oh,
went
yeah.
through the Finnish promoter, and I'm like, Finland, but it's Estonia.
Wow.
It's a festival, and
What's the name of the festival?
Wagon Festival. It's more like a reggae festival.
Oh,
shit.
nice.
Yeah.
Rhythm.
So last year they
Rhythm.
had Walshy Fire actually,
Hey.
and
Shout out to
so
Walsh.
at the end it's just the same people all the time, but
Right.
and yeah, a lot of good stuff. And then music wise, then I have this song with Kashmir.
Okay.
It's coming out, I suppose, soon.
I laugh at that because you said that he reached out to you to help on a song,
Yeah. Well,
and you were using his like.
what would you do? Like fucking Kashmir, who's the best producer in the world, comes to
his
you with
drums. You were using his
with an
drums
almost
in
with
his
an almost finished song and says, "What would you do?" And I'm like, "Put it out."
But the funny thing is, like, Sak uses Cashmere's drums on some of his songs, so he was just going to use the same shit Cashmere.
I had
puts
to
out
go
in
to
his own
YouTube
shit.
and sample a fucking Carnival band or something, not to use his drums. And I'm like, I did something to it. I added some drums. Maybe you like it. But he's the best producer that there is. There's no one better.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, if you do that something from scratch, it's different. But
Right.
he basically sent a perfect idea, and I was even ashamed. Like, what am I supposed to do here?
Yeah.
Man, it's like, I don't know. It's like Messi comes to me. I'm like, teach me something. I'm like, okay.
All right.
No, man, no.
Hey, Sak's nice on the soccer field.
Is he?
Yeah, just to throw that out there.
Oh, thank you.
He's got skills.
I believe it.
Okay.
Play together and
No, I'm really bad. You're much better.
the Beat Source represented Beat Source tournament.
Well, he's got the hair. I think it's in the hair. The power's in his hair.
I mean,
Yeah, probably
it's
not.
there. It's right now.
Probably
Did,
not.
did the song with the, I don't know if you're allowed to say it out loud, but did the song with the guy with the helmet come out yet?
Oh,
Can you say his name? Or
yeah, with Marshmallow.
Yeah.
We did a
What the
song
hell?
together.
What the hell?
I didn't know what he can talk about. What?
Yeah, I can talk about it because it never actually came out.
Oh, okay. But you did a track for him, and it just
Yeah, we did a demo, and then I think French Montana sang on it, and I was like, no, it was good.
So
it was
3
good.
years
but
from
it
now,
was
you
like
hear a track with
something
Marshmallow
weird
and
about
French
it.
Montana.
But then I think they didn't want they wanted to use that song for another thing, but well, whatever. I didn't want to chase it because it was mostly because I knew him before, like he was really big, and it
And
was
he was
more
the
like
other guy.
friends hang at the studio, and I'm like,
Yeah.
man, if you want to put it out, just put it out. If you don't put it out, I mean, don't put it out. It's just because we had fun. I hadn't seen him like in a long time. I was like, yeah, let's hang, man. Let's do that for sure.
Did you have to sign the NDA before going into a studio with him? Like you can't take pictures with him?
No,
Because to some people, they don't know they still don't know who he is.
No, I think
I
it's
didn't
known
take
now.
Do you
pictures.
think it's known that he is that guy now?
That he's .com, yes.
Okay.
no,
It's really well known, I think.
Okay.
Now,
I don't know what the
now.
kids know.
he's a great person, man.
He seems really cool.
He's really good. Like one of these people that I don't know. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but last time I spoke, he was already super big, and he's as humble as the first time I met him. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And Mo, his manager, he's also one of these kind of persons that is just good to everyone.
Yeah.
And what they built, because I've seen it from the beginning.
Yeah.
What they built is amazing,
Right.
and they did everything independently.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They didn't follow, the standards. They just did what they felt was right, and there they are.
Look at them now.
Just a kid from the IE and a,
Yeah.
and a producer, and boom, an idea.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I actually saw him do Avalon as .com.
Oh,
Yeah,
Nice.
and then that was when like remixing trap songs was a thing, like Rick Ross, Marble Floors. I was like, oh, I play all this guy's remixes in the club, and then I was like, oh, here he is.
it's a great product, and I'm sure they have these talks all the time about branding because his brand
Yeah,
is basically a
Well,
monster.
He probably wasn't. I don't know, but I like to think he probably wasn't going anywhere with .com. You know what I mean? Like he was a very talented producer, but I didn't see any moves that were being made that made me think, oh, this is the next dude, or this guy's gonna blow.
Is
So I
there-
feel like whatever he did was like, let me take a step back.
The problem
rebrand.
with DJs is that a lot of the DJs that there are, it's difficult to build brands that are based on a guy pushing buttons. It's really complicated.
Yeah.
There's just a few people that can do it, like Diplo. Diplo has the most like weird brand because he's but in a good way.
Right.
Yeah.
Like people don't really know what music Diplo does.
Yeah. He's not stuck to one sound.
But people know him and fuck with him a lot because of his looks, obviously, but the way he interacts with everything. Now he's a cowboy, whatever, But I find it really genius because he stands out,
Yeah.
and that's about it. Like you have to stand out, and Diplo does it in a big way, and he has many projects. And as a DJ, I don't even know what music is gonna play, but I know the brand, and it works. Same as Dylan Francis, but there's a lot of DJs that are in this like it's like, where's your brand?
Yeah.
Like, I know you're good. I know you can do good stuff, and if I was at your set, I would have fun. But would I follow you? Besides your music, and that's the key question.
Yeah.
Like because if you just follow someone because of the music, it's gonna take you, well, Spotify maybe, or
Right.
But if you really want to engage with a brand, you need to offer more, and you have to do it. Right now, there's no other way to do it.
I think that's spot on because there's so many people also in this world that like they have a following, but would you put up money? Right? Like, can you sell something? And is your brand that strong? Or, I think sometimes what takes you even further, and I think the thing about Diplo is like, people like to support people that just show their personality. And I think once you're able to show that, people value that and will follow that versus, you know, just clicking onto the next thing.
Yeah.
You know, I think for us, you know, I'm super grateful to have and be a part of the MikiDz brand, because that, for us, putting us together gives us a new opportunity to show our relationship. This is just who we are. There just happens to be some microphones in the room. And
someone was stupid enough to give us.
But
microphones.
that's the way to go. I told him yesterday, like, podcasting and communicating is the only thing that's going to be left at the end, because you have to communicate what you do. There's so many things going on right now that you have to explain yourself, at least to some extent. Yeah,
because it's funny. It's just when you think about it, right? Like Instagram, the things you say like get the most engagement, right? Like you look like you're trying to make yourself look as big as possible. I got this fat house, this fat crib, whatever angles, whatever, or I'm doing this crazy big crowd and festival. But then you also have to be able to provide a content that you're not an asshole that has an ego, and you show that you're a human being and can relate to somebody. And I think you got to be able to connect to people, and it's important. So
like the fan, like people. So fans are really important.
Yeah.
Because you need them to grow your brand. Also, you need to listen what they say, because you know it's basically part of yourself, right? You need the core fans and everything that comes with it. You need to tag along with them. There's no other way. You cannot be detached to these people.
Yeah.
You cannot be rude to these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the only way to keep this flowing is communicating. There's no, like, if you just post pictures of yourself like looking good and stuff, I mean, only Diplo can do that. If you're not Diplo, you have to communicate.
Right.
Because Diplo is the only guy that can just post something and no caption and people still react to it. But you got to say something, because, I mean, I want to hear, like, and right now people really are eager for content. Like, they really spend time watching stuff and wanting to know more than there is, because the pictures are not enough. And people are smarter right now than they were before.
Yeah.
The kids today are more smart than the kids my time. That's a fact. That it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that wraps up episode 34. Go get Tocame. And we are out of here.
Thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Had a great time.
Appreciate
and
it.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.